Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on this fine and luxurious and a little bit spooky evening. We have with us tonight a very special guest, Jeff Young, lead paranormal investigator from Ghostech Paranormal. Jeff, my friend, welcome to the channel.
Hiya, how you doing, Ollie?
I'm good. I'm good. It's nice to get this done. We've been speaking for a week now. I feel like you're kind of like an uncle to me now. I've got that connection.
Yeah, I mean it has been a bit of a long week, but we finally sorted it out, haven't we?
We've got it sorted, mate. Yeah. So I mean, I have to say, I haven't been into ghost stuff. It's recently that I've been put onto the ghost stuff, and then somebody said you need to check out Jeff Young. You know, his channel is superb. But before we get into the channel, Jeff, could you like take us back? I want to take us right back to where this all started, and what got you into it.
Okay. Well, it started where I'm sitting now inside this house. I call it the ghost house. Lived here since about 1975. Moved here when I was about 12 years old. And at the age of, well, before I say at the age of 14, when I had my first experiences, my parents were always into, not really into deep into the paranormal, but my mother had an experience where seeing a UFO when she was a child, and she started collecting books and things. So they was always around, and I was sort of always looking at these pictures, of UFOs and things. And but anyway, my room upstairs, I was 14 years old, and I woke up one night, and I had a chair next to my window where I put my clothes on, and I woke up probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was a man sitting in the chair. And the chair was facing the window, and it was probably 5 feet away. And he was sitting in the chair with his hand like that, looking out the window. There was no net curtains or anything on the window. It was just a window. There was a full moon that night. And of course, the whole room was lit up from the brightness of the moon. And I could see this guy sitting there, solid. Now, at the time, I thought it was my dad. My dad was still alive then. His bedroom was further on down the hallway. So I saw this guy sitting there, and I sat up. And I sort of sat there for a couple of minutes, and I said, Dad, what are you doing? And there was no answer. And then I sort of sat up on the edge of the bed, and I said, is someone broken in? Is someone in the garden? What are you looking at? And there was no answer. And I got up and I leant right next to his head, looking out the window, looking at him, looking out the window to see what he was looking at. And then when I turned and looked at him from the brightness of the moon, it looked like my dad, same sort of hair, same sort of it, but it wasn't. There was something not sort of quite right. And I stood up and I said, Dad, and I looked at him and he was still there. And I said, Dad, and I started to get a little bit worried. And I put my hand out and found the light switch, and I hit the switch. There was no one in the chair. Now, I wouldn't say I was freaked out. It made me more interested. And I thought, wow, what have I seen there? And that got me then reading up on all the paranormal and stuff. And it was only 2 weeks later, again, I was laying in my bed. It was sort of getting quite late. I was listening to the radio. In them days, we listened to John Peel, because at that time, it was all the punk and new wave explosion. So he'd have bands on the radio, and I'll be sitting there recording all the bands. And my bedroom door is in front of me. Half of it is corrugated glass. And there was a knock on the door, and I said, come in, thinking it was my mum, my dad. And the door opened, 3/4 of the way, and there was no one there. And I got up, I went outside, I looked down the hallway, everything was still closed. So that even sparked sort of more intrigue in me. And that's where it all sort of started with the paranormal for me. That was me into every single book, down in the libraries, buying everything I could and studying it. And yeah, that's how it all started.
That must be a lot to take in as a youngster, you know. I mean, I always heard stories when I was a kid, but I never ever, not that I remember. There's stuff that I've been told about that happened to me. I've never remembered it. Steve, by the way, in the chat, Jeff is the person that put me on to you, who's just donated £5. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Mr. And thank you, Mr. D.
Is that going to you?
Yeah, mate. I'll buy you a beer. Yeah, well, when we go ghost hunting.
Yeah.
So this has been with you for a long time, but
I kid you not, Ollie. I moved back here. I'd say about 10 years ago, because of my mum. She was going through serious medical conditions, health and stuff. And I kid you not, we still see and hear things. It was probably 2 months ago, even in the daytime, I was walking down the stairs, and as I turned the stairs to walk towards the kitchen, I saw the back half of a lady in a white dress walk into one of the rooms. I thought it was my mum, and then when I walked out, my mum's sitting at the kitchen table, and I said, well, hold on, if you're here, who's just walked into that room? We get it all the time. I've actually had my name called twice, a disembodied voice. I've actually seen a woman walking past my bedroom door. You can see her through the glass. I mean, we're not talking, at night. We're talking in broad daylight. So yeah, it still goes on here now. But there is nothing nasty here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have my children stay here. They've not had any experience, which is really good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them here. You know.
So, at what point did you decide I'm going to put a team together? Because for anybody who doesn't know who Jeff Young is, Jeff has a YouTube channel, but that's just one part of it. You've been doing this for quite a long time, I believe. Yeah,
it's been 20 odd years. I suppose I used to be a musician, and I had my own studio in the house. And when my children come along, we needed the room, so I sold off all my music stuff. Even at that point, I was still reading about the paranormal, seeing the shows on the TV, and once my music career come to an end, it was right. What shall I do? And I thought, okay.
So it was a career. You had the start of a music career.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was in bands. We were getting paid, for gigs and stuff like that. So when that all come to an end, it was right. Okay, I'm seeing this stuff on TV. They say you can hear voices, pick up EVPs on a digital recorder, shadow figures, all that type of stuff. So I then decided, okay, let's try and get some people together and go out there and see if this is true. So spent some money on some equipment. Finding people that's a hard task. There are people that like the paranormal, but would they stand in a dark room with a night vision camera ghost hunting? So many people said, no, I do like it, but I'm not doing that. There's no way. I'm too scared to do that. So then it sort of started off with my nephew Jason. We started to go out and film stuff, and that's how it really started. I mean, it's on my channel. I mean, there is some of the really early episodes. Looking back on them now, the way they're filmed, stuff like that. We wasn't really there to film an episode. We was there just to see what we could capture. And it just sort of went on from then. And as time sort of went on, we had a few other people join. Nice people, but just not cut out to be paranormal investigators. Even though we took them on, we gave them time to try and join the team.
Yeah, I've seen some. Sorry, go on.
About 10 years ago, I bumped into Phil. Just over 10 years ago, and Phil had an experience, and he was I guess an urban explorer as such, but had an interest in the paranormal, and he asked, can I join? And I said, it'd be great to have you along. The thing is with Phil, he's a big skeptic. He looks at other answers before, he says, oh, that's paranormal. And he knows how things work, electronics, things like that. He's been building us some equipment and things like that. And he's ended up to not just be a team member, but my best friend. I know he's got my back. I trust him with anything. And then about 3 years ago, Mark joined. Mark's a big paranormal fan. He's really committed. I mean, he travels 4 hours just to get to me to load the equipment, to then travel to where we got to go. And we've now found that with just us three, it works. We know what we're doing. We know how to set up. You haven't got to tell anyone what to do. They just get on with it, and we all look after each other. So it's absolutely brilliant.
So I've got a good question here, and it's one that I've actually wondered. But Ginger Steve says, can you ask Jeff, would he set up a Patreon so we can help him fund the investigations? Have you ever thought about that?
No, not at all. Hasn't even crossed my mind, actually.
Because that's what intrigued me about you in the first place. I'm like, so whenever everybody says ghost hunters, I automatically think like Most Haunted, things like that. The other guys on the internet, what they're called, the ghosts. I can't remember the names of them now. But anyway, I think of these guys. I think somebody who's messing about, and then they'll say, just buy the t-shirts, buy this, that, and the other. You don't seem to be selling anything. Every single thumbnail's the same. There's no kind of like clickbait to the channel.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But I think when there's good guys offering to fund you because they notice in the good work that you're doing, maybe that could. Have you not thought about that? I mean, people are, if you're spending this much money doing it.
We haven't really. I mean, if that was an opportunity, then yeah. I mean, maybe we can think of something like that. I think the whole idea was we didn't want people to think that we're doing this to make money. That's not what we want to do. It was to help people and to be honest and and do what we can do best. We do all work, and the money that we spend on, we do spend money on hotels, on petrol, on food. We don't ask for anything back whatsoever to do what we have to do. So it was like we didn't want to profit out of anyone's misery. If they're going through a bad time with something happening, the only money that we are getting now, and that's with the Travel Channel and Paranormal Court and Camera, and just recently someone wanted to put us on with the Osbournes. I think it's a show called The Osbournes Want to Believe. So when you've got these big TV companies like the Travel Channel and that want to interview us and show our episodes, then yeah, we do say, well, this is several $100 for that episode if you want to use the clips on Paranormal Court and Camera. And I think that's fair, because I don't think people realize that if we've been out on an investigation for 12 hours and we've had 15 cameras rolling, digital audio, after the investigation, I sit down and I have to go through every single camera live, every piece of audio. Any evidence that we do get, I then enhance the best that I can. And then I sit down for 3 weeks to 4 weeks producing an episode that might only last 30 to 40 minutes. So when a TV company that have got thousands upon thousands of pounds, why shouldn't I charge them a few $100 if they want to,
Definitely, yeah.
Use one of my shows, because it's taken me 3-4 weeks to put together.
In terms of equipment, what type of stuff have you used, and what's kind of like is the cost involved in setting up this Ghostech Paranormal Investigations?
Oh gosh, the money. I mean, even now we're currently upgrading our cameras, into good new high definition cameras, which are full spectrum. Most of our equipment we get off. We call him Infrareddy Andy. His name's Andy, and his company's called Infrareddy co.uk, and he sells everything, and he builds new equipment as well. And I suppose, do you know what? I can't even put a figure on how much we've spent since this has started. Just recently, we've purchased some new equipment that's cost quite a good bit of money, and constantly we're always updating our equipment to see if it makes any difference. So sometimes you could be wired, you could wire up a house from top to bottom, and it doesn't make much difference. Sometimes the simple method is a night vision camera, digital recorder. It's just as good, and I've found that does work. It just depends on what sort of location you're going to.
What do you think of the competition that you have here? I mean, well, I don't want to say competition because I know you're doing this for the love of it, but what do you think of some of the other channels, the other programs that are doing kind of a similar thing to what you're doing?
I used to say we'll pick one. I mean, a popular one. Let's pick Ghost Adventures. I guess they're millionaires now. You can tell by what they're driving, where they're living, things like that. When they started out, it was like just them three guys, no big camera crews following us around. And then, to be honest, I don't watch it anymore. I lost interest a few years back because it's not the same. It's not how it was and how it should be, like it was in the beginning. And it's like near on every episode they're going in to help someone that's possessed. Everyone seems to be possessed, and I'm thinking, oh God, why can't you just go to a location because there's been a few people or a few kids running around? Just something normal, but it just seems to be over the top all the time.
Yeah.
So I've started to sort of lose this interest in them. And again, all of these programs on TV, say for entertainment purposes only. And I believe I touched on this with you in the week.
Yes, you did. If you don't mind, I mean,
no, that's fine. I mean, we were, offered an opportunity to have a few episodes shown on TV. It was quite a few years ago, a long time ago, and because they wanted to put up for entertainment purposes only, I wouldn't have it. I said, this is not entertainment. I said, you actually honestly think we're driving around the country paying for our own hotels, our own food, petrol, taking days off work, using your annual leave to try and get some really good evidence, and you want to put up there, this is for entertainment purposes only, as if we're just making it all up. And it went to and fro for quite some time, and I turned it down. I said, no, you're not doing that. I actually said, if it's like people that go to church and everything like that, there might be people that don't believe in God or Jesus or whatever, but you don't put up, this is for entertainment purposes only. So why would you do it to something that I'm passionate about and I'm trying to find the truth about? So turned it down.
So when you say God and Jesus, and it's whenever I think about ghost channels, I always think spirits, God, Jesus, the devil, this, that, and the other. But you've been to places like Rendlesham Forest. You've got two episodes where you're in Rendlesham Forest, and at the end where you kind of get chased out of Rendlesham Forest by helicopters, which is brilliant, by the way. by the way, guys, everybody in the chat and anybody that's watching this after the chat, I have linked Jeff's channel. Please go and check it out. Subscribe to the channel. It is fantastic. The work you do, mate, is phenomenal. But we were talking about shadow figures and what you believe they are. And if you could touch on that, Jeff, and we can talk a bit about the Rendlesham incident.
Yeah, there is an episode on our YouTube channel called The Shadow People. And over all these years that we've done our filming, we've captured a few over the years that we've been investigating. And I've seen some online that were quite interesting, and I thought I'd do an episode on it. But, sometimes I keep coming across this, and it seems like we've linked shadow figures, shadow people with spirits, ghosts, the dead. And I'm sort of slowly coming round to a different theory on that, which is maybe, just maybe, the shadow figures that we're seeing, number one, may be alien, and they're already here. But another theory that I sat down and it was going through my head, and I thought, this is quite a reasonable assumption that maybe what we're seeing is a humanoid species that's already here, that's already living here. And we see them from time to time. And what I'm trying to also explain is the spectrum of light it changes. We use full spectrum cameras in investigating. That helps us see more than what our eyes can see. Evolution of the human race, we're born, our eyes are developed, and they're all developed in the same way. Now, the big spectrum, it's huge, and we only see in, say, a little bit like that. We can't see what's either side, and I'm just thinking, well, what else is there? What are we not seeing? Because our eyes have not been developed that way. So what if you could see that whole spectrum and see what's actually around you? And it just got me thinking that maybe there's another race here that we do see, and we see them as like black figures, but they've always been here. They're not spirits, they're not ghosts, and because we keep picking them up all the time, nearly on, I'd say 1 out of 3 investigations, we capture shadow figures or shadows moving, even in complete darkness, in blackout rooms, So maybe they're not spirits, maybe they're not ghosts. Maybe people say that these black figures are demonic. Again, it's they're all different theories. None can be really proved at this time. But I was just toying with the idea. Well, what if they're not linked together? So yeah, I've done an episode on the shadow people, and I show different clips what people have captured, even on aeroplanes. And towards the end, I show you what we've captured throughout our investigations.
So what made you want to go to Rendlesham?
Again, I don't know why they're sitting here. I didn't put them there. Perhaps Mum did. UFO books. There's cabinets full of them. So I was brought up on it, and it's one of the biggest cases, isn't it? It was in every newspaper. It was called Britain's Roswell.
Yes.
And I just sort of thought, oh, I've never been there. It'd be great to get out there and just see what it's actually like. I've seen the reconstructions of what happened that night and stuff. And I thought, well, let's go out there. Why not do an investigation, a 2-day investigation? And what made it interesting was toying with the idea of doing the investigation. We got access to Bentwaters, RF Bentwaters, which was involved, and I thought they'd given us access to just go and film and do what we like. And we went, hey, okay. that's it. You know, we arranged it all. It took a lot of time sort of juggling around with people's rotors and getting time off and booking this and booking that, you know, booking up hotels again. And yeah, finally we managed to get out there, and it's an absolutely brilliant place. Absolutely brilliant.
Somebody's got a question here, Jeff. Why is the channel called Jeff Young and not Ghostech Paranormal?
I don't know, really.
I think I know the answer to that. Did you have
well,
did you have the YouTube channel before you even did the channel?
If I called it Jeff Young, it would just mean me. It's not just me, is it? I mean, there's Phil, there's Mark. We're a team, so it's Ghostech Paranormal. I mean, it's like saying, you know, why did Gary Newman change his name to Gary Newman when he was Tubeway Army? They were just as famous. When they had a #1 hit with Our Friends Electric, they were Tubeway Army. But I guess he wanted to make more money, so he changed his name to Gary Newman. But hey, this is not. It's not about me. It's not just about me. It's about the people that are alongside me. You know, they're just as big as me as far as I'm concerned. That's Phil. That's Mark. Even my poor 84-year-old mother. I mean, she does some research for us. You know, if we're looking up births, marriages, deaths, you know, she helps out as well. And yeah,
that's great. You know, so your mum's part of the team.
My mum is, and so is my brother. Yeah, my brother does the writing to go on the screens. He does the writing for the EVPs that might come up. So yeah, we're all sort of in it together, you know. So it's not just about me.
So I'm just going to say to the guys before we are going to take a break in about literally 5 minutes, but we've got a question from Ginger Steve here. So with all the ancient lore about fairies, elves, I'm dyslexic, so I always say gnomes.
So with all the ancient lore about fairies, elves, gnomes, etc., does Jeff believe that these are corrected to shadow beings, entities here with us unseen? Well, I mean, I don't believe in fairies, elves, and gnomes anyway. That is folklore. I've never ever seen any piece of evidence with any of those in it to be, you know, true. So, yeah.
Job's a good one. When you were at Rendlesham,
yeah,
the helicopters came at the end.
The Apache helicopters, yeah.
Yeah, and you could plainly mainly hear them, and you could see the lights. But you kind of like you guys did one.
After with the 2 nights investigation there, with what we saw, and we even captured a beam of light come down from the sky and hit the floor and light up a tree, with big balls of lights moving through the forest, taking off into the air. There were a few incidents which really did scare one of our team members, where he saw a copy. I remember this.
Yes.
Mark was standing there, Clive was standing here, and he saw another Mark behind him, which freaked him out. It absolutely freaked him out. He'd never seen anything like that before. Something was there, not just the lights. There was something else going on there. But with all the evidence that we did capture at Rendlesham Forest, it just really, everything that we'd seen and captured on camera, especially these UFOs moving through the trees, it sort of validated it all when 3 Apache helicopters turned up hovering over us. They were watching what we were seeing. They were watching us. We were watching them. They knew we could see them. With their technology, they knew where we was, what we was doing. And they were following the same lights and UFOs that we were. And to be quite honest, you know, it was a long walk out of there with turning off your lights so they couldn't see you. Or I don't know if we was being followed. I didn't think we was going to make it out of there with our footage, but we did. Yeah, it was like something from a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. You know, it was, you know, these helicopters are equipped with the top stuff. You know, night vision, gunships, all, you know, it's crazy.
just before you nip off for a quick break, Jeff, because I'm going to talk to the guys in the chat.
Yeah.
Did you say that and we were talking last night, and we were talking about this Rendlesham Forest? You said there's no life around the land site area.
When you start off the walk towards the landing site, you know, you walk through, it's all nice. You can hear, you know, birds tweeting, things moving around, maybe like a rabbit or, you know, whatever's out there. You know, it's just the normal wildlife. But as you keep going, it then sort of dies down. And then when you get to the actual landing site and they put a mock-up of what the officers saw there.
Yeah.
And it is the same size. I think it was about 8-9 foot, like a triangle craft that sits there. But by the time you get there, there is nothing. No birds, nothing moving, dead silent. It is really, really strange. It's like they sense something is either gone on there or is still there, and nothing lives there. It's really, really quiet. It's a crazy place.
That is odd. I keep saying I'm going to get myself out there. Maybe I'll come with you, Jeff.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, the guys have been saying, you know, some point, you know, because this investigation at Rendlesham was probably about two years or so ago, and we keep saying we've got to go back out there because it was absolutely fantastic, the stuff that goes on out there, because you're miles away from any roads. There's no street lights. There's nothing whatsoever. So it's pitch black and dead silent, and it's just the right environment for a good paranormal investigation.
Well, anytime, mate, I'll be there. I will be there.
Okay.
I'll book some time off work. I'll come and join you. We can go to the pub afterwards as well. But yeah, you get yourself off for a quick break, mate, and I'm going to speak to the chat.
All right, brilliant. Thanks so much, Ollie. Cheers.
I'll add you back when you come back in. Okay.
No worries. Cheers.
So we're just having a quick break now, guys, because Jeff's just got some things to do. But I'm just going to have a quick look through the chat the best that I can. I've only had a couple of beers, so I'm good. So I noticed that Dark Owl wanted me to ask, will you ask Jeff what is the one thing he's learned about life after death? That's a good question. Remind me about that one. Can you ask Jeff? Stephen, can you ask Jeff if he feels uncomfortable at the atmosphere? Rendlesham Forest. Yes. The thing is, so tonight's only going to be an hour, guys. So this will probably run till 9 o'clock until Jeff's got to nip off and then come back on. It was always going to be about 1 hour show. I think I put that in the comments. But I am on about getting Jeff back on. We've already discussed this. It'd be nice to get the full team on. And if any of the team are watching this now, I don't know if you're in the chat, but please comment in the chat if any of the team are watching this. Because the Ghostech Paranormal is an amazing team. And I was like blown away by this, guys, because I've not seen whenever anybody says, here, watch these ghost hunters, I'm like, oh, I really can't be bothered to watch that. And my good friend Ginger Steve just said, watch it. You need to watch it. You need to get Jeff on. You need to watch it. You need to get Jeff on. And I'm like, okay, let me watch it. So I watched it and I was like, all right, you've got my attention, because literally it's linked in the description. Go check it out. Subscribe. You'll see there's no clickbait, nothing. There is no there's no advertisement on there, apart from every channel now. Even if I was just saying this to Jeff before the show, every single YouTube channel, whether you put so if you're a YouTube channel and you don't have advertisement on your channel, you're going to have advertisements, because YouTube is changing it up. So they're going to force advertisement on even channels that choose not to advertise. So you may as well monetize yourself, guys. So yeah, make a couple of pence out of it. That's what I do. But guys, thank you so much for joining. It is always overwhelming, the chat. I am sorry to tell you that, well, for about the 20,000th time, I always struggle to read the chat. It's just it's not the beer. It's just these eyes. They just struggle. It needs to be color coded. You know, maybe the chat comes in like green, or red writing. You know, that I can read. I can read white on black, but I can't seem to change this to white on black. Hopefully Jeff will come back soon. That way I don't have to rabbit on. But I did say that we would take a quick break, but I'm going to add him back for when he does come back. And I've got my little wall in the background. I like a good wall. It's good to have a good wall. But the paranormal, guys, if for anybody who's wondering, why is Alien Addict kind of going in this paranormal, ghostly world, shadow figures and all that? It was a UFO channel. I used to debunk UFOs. I found a kind of a love for it. Hence, I'm wearing black. I've always worn black. But yeah, I found a bit of I don't know. It's just something tells me that there's more to this life than just the aliens. You know, there's some sort of link between all the weird going-ons that are around us every day. I think Jeff's coming back. I just heard something. It's come to rescue it. See, I can't do what Goofon does and just chat for 3 hours. That man has got some talent. But I really do appreciate the support, people. Here we go. So let me go back up to that question. So we've got a good question here, Jeff, from Dark. A good friend of mine, he's got a channel as well. He interviews many people. He'd probably love to have you on, actually. But Dark Hour Paranormal asks, will you ask Jeff what is the one thing he's learned about life after death directly through the research and investigation?
Honestly, confusion is probably something that sort of comes to mind. I've seen a lot of things, I've heard a lot of things, but I sort of I find the more you find out things, the more sort of confused you get. And you know, Dark Hour Paranormal, I'm sure you'll agree with me that if there's, you know, heaven and all this sort of thing, you know, why are children left behind, you know, on these investigations that we do? Sometimes you come across children, you think, well, why are these children still here? Is it because they're too scared to go where they're supposed to go, or they're staying where a place that's made them happy? You know, there's a lot of confusion, and it's hard to sort of break down into sort of sections. Sometimes we have come across a lot of spirits that are nasty, that are horrible, and I believe the reason they're like that is because that's how they were in life, and they don't want to go anywhere. They just want to stay here, you know. But yeah, there's just too many different sections, and when you do these investigations that involve children and stuff, you know, just only recently we were hearing children, disembodied voices, and you think, why are they here? Why haven't they gone where they should go? And yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit heartbreaking, you know, when you're dealing with children. And I mean, one thing I do know, I mean, there is life after death, and this one's guaranteed, and that's your children. We know that. So life after death, definitely your children is your, you know, the life after your death. But I find that as I'm going along here, I'm trying to process everything, and trying to make sense of it. And I think the paranormal world is so complicated that it's going to take some time before you can sort of work things out, how it's actually falling into these different sections, you know.
When we're talking about evil, can you tell us about a time that you've had the most scariest encounter that you've ever had, or the team? And is it one of your episodes?
Well, it's not due to be shown until probably next year, sometime towards the end of next year. One of my top scariest places would be Englefield Hall, which is sort of out in the country, west of London, and we've done one investigation there, and everything just seems so quiet. And then the clock hit 11 o'clock, and it just went crazy, absolutely crazy. We had footsteps running at us, boots, and it's all been captured on film. Now, after the first investigation there, I mean, halfway through, Phil and myself were outside. We looked at each other, and I said, look, if you want to leave, we'll turn on the lights, we'll get our cameras, we'll just go. And Phil said no. He said, we've never walked out on an investigation before, we've got to stay. And it was one of the scariest investigations that we've been on. But we went back there recently, and I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but what I am going to say is I saw something that sent me into shock. I was so shocked. I didn't know what happened. I dropped everything. I only knew what I'd done after seeing the cameras and everything of how I reacted. And the guys looked after me because something that I saw blew my mind, and I was in a different place. But I'm not going to say too much about it. At the time, we had back-to-back TV filming us as well for the first part of the investigation. They were actually doing interviews, and also to show Rendlesham Forest, the episodes on, I think it's going to be the Unexplained Files. And yeah, and they wanted to show Englefield on the Osbournes, the Osbourne show. So I'm not going to say too much about it. I mean, a lot of people say we like Ghostech Paranormal because they're so calm, but this went out the window at Englefield Hall Revisited. And as I say, that episode is quite a long way away, but it will be shown, and I'm not going to be embarrassed about my actions and what I done and what I said. So yeah.
So you've got quite a lot of shows that you've already filmed that are in the works. You just need to edit them and get them all together.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 10 episodes put aside. We're always in front of ourselves, because the problem that we don't want to do is we show an episode every 2 weeks on YouTube. We'll show about maybe 6, 7, 8 episodes, and then we take a break for a month or two. That break in between is just so we can get out there, do our filming, get more episodes, because what we don't want to do is show the episodes and then we find that we can't get an investigation done, and then people, our fans, will say, well, what's happened? You know, we're not seeing an episode. So we try and hold back so we can keep it rolling and rolling and rolling without running out of material, to keep everyone, you know, they know every 2 weeks they're going to see an episode. We've just started the ball rolling again. So there's going to be another 5 episodes, and then we're going to take a 2-month break while we get all the episodes back together, get out there filming. And we're just hoping in December to get into St Breville's Castle, which is in Gloucestershire. And that's going to be a 3-night lockdown. We've got the whole castle to ourselves. We was hoping to get there this month, but obviously things have happened, shall we say. So it's been put on hold. This is going to be a biggie. You know, we're rigging the place up with 15 static cams. We're going to have handheld cams. We're going to have 360 motion detectors. We've got our new developed SLS V2 high resolution cam, which films stickman technology, but also it's got a built-in 3D monitor, and it's brilliant because I can point it at you, and I can swivel the screen and look on top of you, go down you, go around you. So if I see a figure there, I can actually flip it and get a 3D mapping on the figure, as well as using stickman technology. We've got lots of new gadgets, and we want to rig this castle up from top to toe, because it's meant to be the most haunted castle in England, and it was built around about 1075, I believe. And yeah, we're itching to get in there at the moment.
So we were talking about fans earlier, and like yourself, most of my fans are from the States. Have you ever considered doing a show in the States?
Well, as in going to the States to do an investigation?
Yeah.
Would love to, but it's the money. If you think of even traveling over there, you're looking at what, a couple of £1,000 each. And your equipment as well, you know, it's going to be thrown around in the back of a plane. Who knows what it's going to look like when it gets out the other side. It's the taking the time out of work. If you was to take a week off, you know, it's a lot of traveling, a lot of preparation, a lot of money. I would love to go out there. But at the moment, you know, the UK has got so much to offer. It's absolutely brilliant here. You know, there's so many places to go and see, you know. So, you know, we're even looking at Scotland at the moment, maybe taking a trip up to Scotland. There's plenty of old hospitals and asylums that are just left out there in the countryside, because Scotland doesn't get touched. You know, it's a big place. It's not as heavily populated as, you know, England. So these places just sit there. And yeah, but maybe one day, you know, if someone says, yeah, hey, come to the United States, we'll sort you out, you know. Yeah, we'll definitely go.
So you'll probably understand this more than I will.
Okay, let's have a look there. Where does Jeff get the software to turn a Connect into an SLS cam? I have the Connect, but nor the software. Where should I look for that? Okay, who's that? Is that Ginger Steve again?
That's yeah. He's the man who put me onto you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like the picture, Steve. Ginger Steve. What is that picture of? Is that a Diddy man?
I have no idea what it is.
Okay. As I said earlier, all of our equipment, most of our equipment gets built by Infrared Andy. Although Phil does do some bits and pieces as well when he's got time. So it was Andy at Infrared that built us this SLS cam V2 high resolution Connect. So, you know, it's a tablet, and it uses the Xbox, basically. The Xbox, you know, it's I don't know, I've never played the Xbox before, but I take it you put it on your TV, you play a game, and if you're playing tennis and you hit it, it picks you up, and it does on the screen what you're doing. So it's just thousands of dots of light, you know, that maps in whatever's there. So it was built for us by Andy from Infrared, and that's if you want to find him, he's up north. He's got his own business there. If you just type in Infrared, it will come up, Infrared website, and you can see all of the products that he's got on there. He's a great guy, a good friend of mine. And if you know, even when anything goes wrong, he's there for you. He can sort it for you. But yeah, he builds them all. He puts them all together. And we were one of the first teams to actually have the SLS Cam V2 high resolution. And the difference is between this, it's not just a normal Connect where it just maps in figures. This system, again, as I say, has a 3D monitoring system. So you can actually see a whole room in 3D. It's absolutely amazing. It's brilliant. Again,
I've seen it running in your videos. It looks that's what I was asking about last night. That it looks insane.
Yeah. our Englefield Hall Revisited, we actually used the 3D mapping system, and it did map in a figure walking right across the middle of the hallway. Yeah, it's a brilliant piece of kit. Fantastic.
So we've got here, ask about Pendulum Hill. Pendle Hill.
Pendle Hill. I have a medium to join his group and seen anyone possessed by a spirit. Well, yeah, Pendle Hill is I'm trying to think what that is now, but I do know it's to do with the witches that lived out there. That's meant to be a very haunted place. Yeah, we have been thinking of going out there, but it's in the middle of nowhere, this place. But yeah, no, we have been thinking about going there. Will we have a medium to join my group? Has he ever seen anyone possessed by a spirit? I have never actually worked with a medium at all. I don't know if we ever will, because when someone says something, it's like a second-hand observation or statement. It's something that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't hear. I like the evidence at an investigation when you can see something, you can hear something, but it's like someone telling you something and there's no proof of that. And that's why we've never used a medium. So have I seen anyone ever possessed? Well, there was someone that used a Ouija board once and brought through the Zozo demon. And that was a long investigation. There were lots of threats made. I remember asking, what do you want with the girl? And it said, effing killer. That was one of our clearest EVPs we've ever had. We tried to make it leave. We couldn't make it leave. And that's why I then ended up calling in the church and got in touch with the PA to the Bishop of Churches that sent us Reverend to come in to resolve the situation. In fact, since then, I am now in contact with the church. If ever
I was going to say,
them.
because the church look for your evidence now, don't they?
Yeah. If there's been several investigations we've done where we do need the church to come in to resolve the matter. So I have personal contacts with them. It's just to make sure, even after an investigation, we do keep in contact with clients, if you like, that have contacted us. We're always making sure they're okay. If they still need us, is there anything else that we can do? We just don't do an investigation and then just leave. So yeah.
Jeff, so you're talking to the church. You've been to Rendlesham Forest. You've seen UFOs. We've talked about that. And you're talking that the shadow figures may be something completely different. And I totally agree with you there. Where do you think the connection is between, or do you think there's a connection at all? Or do you think it's completely separate things between what you're doing when you're investigating something where you may need to get the church involved, or whether you think a shadow figure is a being that was on this planet well before us, or it's an extraterrestrial? UFOs, do you think there's a connection with it all?
Well, I'm sort of separating it all up now. I think at the moment I'm sort of leaning towards that shadow figures are a type of being that's already here. They've always been here. It's just that we just get to see them now and again because of that small spectrum of light that our eyes can see, and we can't see what else is here. So I'm leaning towards that at the moment. I'm not saying that's my conclusion, but as I'm going on so far, this is what I'm looking at.
Fifth dimensional beings. Hobber Mallow keeps spamming fifth dimensional beings. So he wants to make it very clear they are fifth dimensional beings. Do you think they're fifth dimensional beings, Jeff?
I don't know. I can't answer that at the moment. As you know, so sometimes we do these investigations and we're looking at things and we're trying to process them, but we're only trying to process them in a way that our brains will allow us to. Perhaps we're not that intelligent yet to try and work this out, and that's why, as I said to you, I've got different sections, and and it gets confusing sometimes. Maybe we're not there yet, as you know, to actually work all this out. You know, something's there. What, I don't know. You know, UFOs. I've seen so much stuff on that. You know, and people say it's Area 51. It's this, it's that. But I mean, I've seen footage that I don't think it's. I think maybe it's reverse engineering. Maybe we've built something, or maybe you know, there are actual craft, you know, visiting this planet.
I was going to ask you about that. What do you think about the gimbal footage that's been, and the Pentagon saying that these are real UFOs?
Well, I mean, if you've got jets traveling, you know, all these hundreds of miles an hour that are using their night vision, zooming in, locking on, you know, and I've seen it where it just it's gone. You know, it's too fast. You know, it's not another jet, and these people are in jets trying to chase them, and these are qualified pilots. What are these things? Are these, you know, is it something that's been used in reverse engineering? Is it a new system? And the thing that's really annoying is, you know, if you've got something like that, you know, why not just let everyone know about it? You know, unless they're waiting for a war or something, you know, and say, hey, we got this new stealth craft. Hey, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
We were talking last night in a private conversation, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you mentioned about the Rendlesham UFO that you guys saw, but you said that's not the only UFO that you'd seen.
So, sorry, the only UFO
that you've seen, yeah, that you've seen them before.
With my own eyes, yeah. I mean, on them 2 nights at Rendlesham Forest, I believe we saw 1, 2, 3, 4 UFOs. One even actually taking off from the ground, going up into the sky. That's all on film. Moving in and out throughout the trees, between 10, 20 feet off the ground. It's yeah. I mean, and these are big balls of white light. You know, there's no reason for that. You know, there's nothing else that could be. You can't blame it on a car or a plane or anything. There's just nothing there.
So when you do all these different hunt, well, I don't want to call it a hunt because it seems like you're kind of doing a service almost rather than hunting. It seems a bit, you know, hunting rifle type thing. But when you're doing a ghost hunt, do you ever feel like you've taken anything home with you? You know, you've taken your work home.
I have done. I have done before. We was doing an investigation at a place called the Hope Pub, and
I watched that one. I think I've watched that one today. I think I watched one in a pub.
I brought the previous landlord that lived, worked, and died there. This lady. I brought her home with me, and it was about 5:30 the next morning. It was summer. The sun was up, and I was sitting there getting ready for work. And I saw this little old lady walk past the window of my bedroom door. And I thought, oh, there goes Mum. You know, what's she doing up? And it was in the direction of the toilet. And I thought, oh, she won't be long. I need to get in there, you know. And I waited and waited and waited. And no one come out. And I opened the door, and there was no one in the toilet. My mum's door was closed. She was still in bed. And I went downstairs. And then I heard this woman say, Jeff. And I looked up and I said, hold on, Mum, be with you in a minute. And she said, Jeff. I said, yeah, I'll be with you. I went upstairs. She was fast asleep. And then it dawned on me that I'd brought something home with me. So then I spoke to the lady. I said, you need to go back. We arranged all this, went back to the Hope Pub and put a little plaque up on the wall. Just so everyone knows that she used to, you know, work here. She lived here. She did die there. And there she is up on the wall there. And I took her back. So yeah, it has happened.
I noticed in one of your videos, you left a Winnie the Pooh teddy for the children. You left it there. And Also,
Do you know what? That must have been our very first episode that we had ever done.
Whenever I look at a channel, I always check out the first video they ever
Because
did.
that is so that it was a great place. It's a naff film because at that time I had no idea of film production, direction, volume levels, anything. We just done the best we could, you know. We've done that quite a few times, you know, when there's children involved. We like to leave something for them, you know, just to say thank you, if it's a little teddy bear, anything like that, you know. So yeah. I mean, we take that seriously, especially when children's involved, you know.
So
We like to look after them.
I know you've got to get off, but before you go, so when we see in I think there's one of the videos when you're in the house that's quite near me, where the Black Monk, where they did the film, when the lights went out and you went and investigated that house.
30 East Drive.
Yeah. So when they were talking about sometimes the doll, people believe the doll is possessed. When we're talking about objects, why do you think these beings don't go into something like, I don't know, a candle holder? Why do they go into a doll or a teddy bear? You know, something that we can relate to.
Well, believe it or not, there are many items that are haunted, possessed, and you say a candle holder. Yeah, you know, it's if it's a personal item that someone really loved. I mean, put it this way: I don't go to second-hand shops and buy a bookcase or a chair or anything like that because I don't know what else is going to be coming with it. You know, the guy that used to sit in it. So believe it or not, there are a lot of items that have got attachments to it, even a wedding ring. You know, you just don't know what you're going to be bringing home with you when you buy something secondhand, and that's why I don't. At 30 East Drive, when we were there, there was a doll in one of the rooms, and someone had told me that the doll spoke. And I knelt down with my digital recorder, and I leant down and I said, "Someone says that you can speak to me." And when we enhanced the audio, there's this voice, this child's voice that says, "Let's play," and starts giggling. Something's attached to that doll. But you know, you've got to be sort of careful of these sort of things because, you know, they can use it as a conduit. These spirits can use it to draw your attention, to gain your trust, you know. So yeah, believe it or not, there's lots of things that can have some sort of attachment, even a book. I've come across cases with that where we've had to deal with something attached to books. So yeah.
So Steve says he wants to send you some beer, some spirits, no pun intended. So they can go into anything they want. They can possess any object.
You know, it's like what's your most treasured possession you've got, Ollie?
This kind of beer right now. No. I don't even know. Probably my computer at the moment with what I do. I mean, somebody's just said that they've just had the computer possessed.
You know, what if, you know, I don't know. It might be a wedding ring, anything like that. That's what I'm saying. You know,
I sometimes wish somebody had possessed my wife. You know,
what's wrong with her?
Nothing. Only because she's watching this probably right now.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a can of beer to come right across the screen and doof you in the head, sort of thing. You know? But yeah, no, you know, all laughing and joking aside, you know, I've come across so many things that have got, you know, had attachments to it. I mean, I believe there was a show on the TV. It was called The Haunted Collector. And this guy and his team would go around and help people with hauntings in their homes. And believe it, and you know, most of the time it was an object that they've got in their home that was causing the paranormal activity. So they'd end up moving that object out of the home and sealing it and taking that away. And it was on a long time ago. I can't think who was in it now. But I do believe that the gentleman that was in charge of the team was something to do with Lorraine Warren, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were the private investigators, for Amityville. That's how we got the films The Conjuring, and it was from their private investigation sort of thing, So but
I was actually going to ask you about them guys. Your thoughts on Lorraine and that one with the doll, because I mean, obviously that's a big film, being a big film. But I know you've not got long now, Jeff, and you need to get off. But I hope you would come on again on the channel.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many more questions I have for you. So the Lorraine and that, you think these guys were legit?
I do, for the simple reason they wasn't just paranormal investigators. How can I put this? These days, I don't think a lot of people know this. These days, to have the help from the church is a lot easier now. They've actually got groups set aside all around the country of priests, bishops, reverends that just deal in paranormal, helping people with possessions, with haunted houses. Didn't have that back in them days. Back in them days, you had to go to the Vatican. You had to have proof. You had to show them film, of possession, of a haunting, and it had to be 100% even before you got help. So obviously, Ed and Lorraine Warren, whatever they've got in their vaults from all the cases that they've investigated and what they've done, the church were willing to help them all the time. So they must have had some really good evidence.
Yeah, Jeff, honestly, I could talk for hours with you. I really could, but out of respect for yourself, I know you got to go, and I don't want to keep you and have an embarrassing moment. But before you go, can you just tell everybody where they can find you? I've put it in the description below. But if you just tell them a little bit about yourself, what you and the team do, and where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. So, so Ghostech Paranormal. I'm Jeff Young. We've got Phil, and we've got Mark. The three of us guys, we help as many people as we can. If anyone does need us, just email us, call us, do whatever you've got to do. We're a free service. We don't charge you for anything whatsoever. We're on YouTube. We must have about 102, 103 episodes at the moment on YouTube. Next episode will be coming out a week on Saturday to carry on with our series. So yeah, listen, if anyone does need us, even if you get in touch with Ollie here, if you do need an investigation, you need advice, help, just give us a call. We're here for you.
Jeff, thank you very much, my friend. I'm just going to drop you out for a second, then I'll end the broadcast and I'll say goodbye to you personally. But thank you very much, mate, for coming on. I really appreciate you being a great guest. Guys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know it's been a small one. It's only been an hour long. I could have talked to Jeff all night long. I really could have done. But make sure you check Jeff's channel out. It is in the description below. Click on it. It's Jeff Young. And if you've got something going on yourself and you live in the UK, email Jeff. If you can't get in touch with Jeff and you want to get in touch with me, my email is alienaddict. alienaddict@gmail.com. That's because somebody stole alienaddict@gmail.com. I don't know who, but they were a mean person. But it's alienaddict@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Everybody that's been in the chat, all the super chatters, and just everybody for being here. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Good night. God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite.